Hello everyone, my name is Fauzan Tugas Fitra and I'm from 11F1. Today I'm going to do my summary video, and for today the case uh, 15, sorry, 14, the case 14 is will talk about the Formula 1 or F1. Yeah, the favorite sport about racing. Okay, get started. So by the end of 2019, sorry, the boss at Formula One, yeah, we're talking about the CEO is Gascari Sin Precious, and the legendary engineers is Ross Brown had a massive reason to celebrate. That year, F1 hit a huge milestone because it hits until 4.2 billion fans attended the 21 race in the season. It meant that's a 2% jump for the years before. And and get his the and get this the hit that number even dropped a literal typhoon or storm in Japan almost ruined one of the race weekend. But F1 wasn't always be a goal. For almost 15 years, it was run by a guy named Bernie Ecclestone. Bernie was a genius at making deal, but this guy this guy was very old school. He famously said he don't care about young fans because dating young fans didn't have money to buy expensive things like Rolex watch or the others. He keeps the sport still mysterious, expensive, and honestly kind of stuck in the past. There was no social media strategy, it's mean no Netflix, no the others lah. And the website is basically from 19th. And everything changed at the end of 2016. An American company called Liberty Media bought F1 for 4,000.6 billion US dollar. They didn't see a boring racing series, but they saw a 14 years old startup. And then they realized that 41% of their 5,000 million fans were under 35 years old. And these fans want a drama. They don't want a boring sport. They want a taste. They want to feel they were part of the action. And here's the Liberty mission. And the mission is to turn F1 into the greatest racing spectacle in the world or even in the planet. So, how do you get 3,000, 13,000, 13,000 people to show up at the track in the Great Britain, Australia, or Mexico? And the solution is you stop treating it like a race, but start treating it like the Super Bowl. Cascari's strategy was really simple. Make every Grand Prix becoming an unforgettable event. If you went to race in 2019, you weren't just sitting for 2 hours watching a boring car, a boring racing car, no, but you could visit a free exhibit You could visit a free exhibition of 20 real James Bond's car if you feeling really fancy and had 15,000 US dollar to spare. Yeah, of course you have a lot choice because you could you could do the F1 Pirelli Hot Laps. It's been where a pro driver blasts you around the track in supercar so you can feel the G-force yourself. But Liberty Media know that not everyone, not everyone can fly to Monaco, so they broke they broke the rest to the people. How they do that? So they start a fan service. Sorry, no fan service. They start a fan festival in huge cities like Shanghai, Chicago, LA, and Sao Paulo. These are free city street parties where you can hear the engineers roar and watch the qualifying season on the giant jumbotron. And then there is a Netflix effect. Before 2017, F1 driver were actually banned from every digital platform, like banned from posting certain thing on social media. Liberty Media is flip it the script. They don't want to they don't want to do that. They want to make something new, and then they'll launch a series or movie named Drive to Survive on Netflix. And suddenly, because of this, we weren't just looking at helmets, we were seeing the face of drivers like Lewis Hamilton or Daniel Ricciardo or your favorite drivers. We saw them get angry, get sad, and deal with insane pressure. The marketing boss is Ali Norman called this value exchange. The younger fans, the Gen Z, and the millennial crowd are happy to share their data and follow the sport if everyone if everyone give them behind the scene content that feels real. That's why F1 social media grew over 25 billion followers and their website got 1.1 billion views in just 1 year. Nice. And as we let me talk about the traveling circus. This part is kind of mind blowing to me because yeah, if we see the data, F1 have 10 teams, and every single one of them is like small army. It's like a small army because every teams will have 6,000 to 9,000 people per team. Every 2 weeks, the whole sport have to move to new country. They have to sorry. They have to transport the car per teams plus enough spare part to build a third one from scratch. Each car has 11,000 components made of carbon fiber, and let's we think about the logistic. 11,000 parts multiplied by 20 cars plus tools, computer, and even the hospitality units where the driver can sleep and eat. When they leave Europe, everyone helps team everyone helps the team fly everything out in a massive cargo plane. It's a giant puzzle, and sometimes nature decide to play difficult. In October 2008, 2008. In October 2019, a huge typhoon hit the Japan Grand Prix. The teams had to pack everything down, secure the garbage, secure the garbage, garbage, no, secure the garage and basically hide from the storm while keeping $1 million of stakes safe. Even the timing of the race is calculated move. F1 research found that starting race just 1 hour and 10 minutes. It will help them get 5% more view. Why? Because it means people in the UK and Brazil could finish watching their local soccer match before the F1 legs went out. It's all about the data even before the car start moving. Now for the trend, and as for the trend, F1 is basically an engineer's war. It's a technological, it's a technological, oh yeah, it's a technological testing lab. The hybrid engineer they use today is the most efficiency in the world, and that tech eventually ends up in the road cars of your parents' drive, like turbocharged, turbocharged to save the fuel. But here's the crazy part: the data during the race weekend, one F1 car is convert about 2,000 sensors. Get a lot of sensors. This is record. These sensors is record everything, like their heat, engine pressure, and how much the how much the driver is sweating, and they produce a, around 5,000 gigabyte of data per weekend. While the driver fighting 5G of force, that's like having 1035 kilogram of weight pressing your leg every time you hit the brakes. There, there's a team. There's a team of brilliant mathematics back at the factory. They're watching the data on in a real time using machine learning, and they are playing a high-speed game of chess. They decide they decide to do a pit stop when when to try an undercut. That's when you pit early from fresh tires jump ahead of the guy in front. They also deal with dirty air. Ross Brown explained that F1 cars are fragile aerodynamically. When a car is racing, it leaves a wake of a messy, turbulent air behind it. Yeah, it leaves a wake of messy turbulent behind it. If your car following, if you are the car following, you lose a ton of performance because the air is too dirty for the wings to work. It's like protective bubble for the car in front. That's why F1 have a DRS or drag reduction system where the where the driver can open and close flap on their wings to slide stroke the air and overtake. And so how to pay for all this? Liberty Media has 5 strategies pillars to keep their money flowing and not stuck. First is make the sport healthier, like make it fairer so more teams can join and win, upgrade the event and get fans and expand the brand. And the last is global footprint. The money itself from four main box. First is rest promotion. It's around 30% of the revenue. Countries like Abu Dhabi or Vietnam pay average of 13 million US dollar a year for just the honor of hosting a race. Second is broadcasting. It's around 38%. TV channels like ESPN pay massive fee, pay massive fees to show the race to 2,000 territories in a worldwide. Third is sponsorship is around about 15%. You have seen the logos like Rolex, TSL, Emirates, Perel, or your favorite brand that sponsor the F1. But the sponsorship is changing. It's not about the sticker put in a car. No. If we look at example, the partnership with EWS or Amazon Web Service, everyone use EWS to create the tool like F1 Insight, graphic on your screen. It's graphics you seen on the TV like the Overtake TV Gold or Battle Force. AWS gets to show the world how powerful they could computing, and F1 gets a better show for the fans, and it's make win-win. And finally, for the others is 70%, which include the paddock club. This is the ultra VIP area where the richest fan in the world watch the race from the right above the pits. In 2019, 80,000 people 80,000 people booked these super expensive tickets for watch F1. And let's we go ahead. Yeah, of course, every story, every case have their problem. Like for the F1, F1 have a big challenge, and the challenge is the fairness. For a long time, the big three like the big three, it's Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull, had the biggest budget and always won a F1 race because, for example, Ferrari is Ferrari spent 4,063 million US dollar for their cars, and of course, it's really hard to small teams like Williamson that only had 1,100. It's not 4,000 but 463 million US dollar for Ferrari. Nah, for Williamson just only had 1,082 million US dollar for their cars. Of course, is it not fair? And to fix this problem, F1 was introduced a new concept. It's called cost cap or budget cap. In the 2021 considered agreements, now every team have a limiting to spending about 1,000, not 1,000, 175 million US dollar a year for their car. So because of this force, because of this, the engineer is must be smarter to use the money for their cars. Okay, maybe that's all for me. Thank you for watching, and sorry if I have a many struggle in this video because I'm still learning. And thank you for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.